That afternoon, the sunset began to sink behind the tall buildings of Seoul. A cool spring breeze blows gently, carrying the scent of blossoming cherry blossoms. Amid the bustle of a city that never sleeps, two familiar figures walk side by side along the sidewalk, attracting the attention of anyone who happens to cross that street. Taehyung and Jungkook, two BTS members known for their warm personalities and unrivaled attractiveness, seemed to be enjoying their time together casually. But something was different that afternoon. They seemed to be looking for something that makes them browse the corners of the city with enthusiasm. The day began like a normal day in their cozy home. Taehyung, with his signature style full of spontaneity, suddenly proposed the idea to leave the house. "Hyung, how about we go for a walk this afternoon? It's been a long time we do not enjoy the atmosphere outside," he said while sipping morning coffee. Jungkook, who was busy with his acoustic guitar, turned his head and nodded in agreement. "Come on, Hyung. But where are we going?" Taehyung smiled mysteriously. "We'll find something, but I don't know what it is yet." That answer, as always, aroused Jungkook's curiosity. They decided not to make plans too detailed. As artists who are often stuck in tight schedules, spontaneous moments like these are their way to feel free, even if only for a few hours. After wearing casual clothes and masks to disguise their identities, the two stepped outside. They started their journey from the Itaewon area, a place known for its diversity. Narrow streets with small shops, uniquely designed cafes and restaurants offering a variety of international cuisine became the backdrop for their trip. Taehyung, who has an artistic eye, can't help but stop in front of a small antique shop. "Look at this, Jungkook," he said, pointing to an ancient wall clock hanging in a shop window. The clock has intricate carvings that look like works of art from the Joseon era. They went inside, chatting with the owner of the store, a friendly old man. "The owner told me that the clock once belonged to a nobleman before it finally arrived at his shop." Taehyung listened attentively, while Jungkook took some detailed photos of the clock. "Is this what we are looking for?" Jungkook asked after they came out of the store. Taehyung shook his head. "Not yet. But I feel like it's part of our journey." After exploring Itaewon, they continued their journey to Gangnam, one of the most modern and luxurious areas in Seoul. The neon lights began to light up, creating an atmosphere that contrasted with the warmth of the previous afternoon. Here, they visited an independent bookstore famous for its collection of classic art and literature books. Jungkook, who had a great interest in photography and the visual arts, was immediately drawn to a book called The Art of Shadows. Meanwhile, Taehyung discovers a collection of poems by the classic Japanese poet, Basho. "We have to buy this," Taehyung said, holding the book of poems. Jungkook agrees, even though they know that the books are not their main goal. "What are we looking for, Hyung?" Jungkook asked again. This time, Taehyung just laughed a little. Sometimes, searching is more important than finding. After wandering around for a few hours, they stopped at a small cafe hidden at the end of the alley. The cafe is decorated with hanging plants and dim yellow lights that create a warm and intimate atmosphere. They ordered 2 cups of herbal tea and a piece of chocolate cake. This is where they begin to talk more deeply about the purpose of the afternoon's trip. "Hyung, a lot of people always ask what keeps us excited in the middle of this busy life," Jungkook said, starting the conversation. Taehyung nodded while leaning his back on the chair. "I think the answer is simple, Jungkook. We have to keep looking, be it inspiration, meaning, or even a little happiness like this afternoon." Jungkook was silent for a moment, pondering those words. "I think we often forget how precious moments like this are. No need for schedules, no need for targets. It's just me and the world out there." As the night wore on, they decided to walk back home. However, on the way, they passed a small garden decorated with fairy lights. There was a group of young people who were playing guitar and singing. The song they sing is one of BTS's songs, Spring Day. Taehyung and Jungkook paused for a moment, watching with smiles on their faces. Unexpectedly, one of the young men recognized them. "Is that Taehyung and Jungkook?" he asked hesitantly. Taehyung nodded slowly, then signaled them to stay calm. They joined in, sat on a park bench, and spent time singing together. That night, they found not only simple happiness, but also a reminder of the love they received from people who appreciated their work. I think this is what we're looking for, Jungkook. Taehyung said as he looked up at the night sky. Jungkook nodded, feeling that the afternoon trip was an unforgettable experience. An afternoon that began with a mysterious purpose finally ended with a full heart. They realized that what they were looking for was not something that could be described in words, but rather the journey itself and how it connected them to the world around them. The evening continues with a peaceful atmosphere. In the small park, Taehyung and Jungkook sit with fans who happen to be there. They share stories, listen to simple stories that reflect the struggles and dreams of young people in the big city. A girl named Minji, one of them, told me about her dream of becoming an illustrator. Sometimes I find it difficult to keep fighting, especially when the results are not yet visible, he said with a tone full of doubt. Jungkook looked at her with a gentle look. I used to be, too, Minji SSI, he said, recalling the days he began his journey as a trainee. When I was little, I often thought about whether I was good enough for my dreams. But in the end, I learned that the courage to keep trying is more important than the result itself, she added. Taehyung smiled when he heard that. For him, Jungkook always had a simple yet profound way of touching the hearts of others. Small talk turns into deeper discussions. They talk about art, music, and life. Another young man, Jinho, asked Taehyung, "What is most important to you when making music?" Taehyung pondered for a moment before answering. I think the most important thing is honesty. The most touching music is music born from the heart. When I write songs or sing, I want to convey honest feelings, even if they are simple, she replied. That night, they were not the great idols the world had known. In that small garden, they were just two ordinary people who shared happiness with those around them. As the clock strikes midnight, Taehyung and Jungkook finally bid farewell to the youngsters in the park. They walked back home at a leisurely pace, still feeling the warmth of the interaction just now. Young, I think this is the best afternoon we've ever had, Jungkook said as he looked up at the star-studded night sky. Taehyung smiled, nodding in agreement. Sometimes what we're looking for isn't a big deal. Maybe it's just a little moment like this, reminding us that we're still human, still connected to the people around us. After arriving home, the two of them sat in the living room while enjoying a glass of warm tea. The books they had bought earlier in the afternoon were lying on the table, waiting to be read. Jungkook played a soft instrumental song from his phone, creating a calm atmosphere. Hyung, what do you think we're really looking for this afternoon? Jungkook asked, returning to the question that was asked from the beginning. Taehyung chuckled, shrugging his shoulders. I don't think we're looking for anything specific. We just want to find ourselves in freedom, in silence, and in that little happiness. The answer made Jungkook ponder. Their afternoon mission may seem simple, but it actually has a much deeper meaning. They find not only moments of happiness, but also reminders of what really matters in life: relationships, honesty, and the courage to live the day with gratitude.